Welcome to the Cinema Condition, a podcast where we analyze the movies that you've seen or you haven't seen. And I am your host, filmmaker, and host of the Nerdcore podcast, Raul Alejandro Mendoza. But no, you guys can just call me the Nerdy Chicano as always. And I have a team member with me today to talk about our first film that we are digesting here at the Cinema Condition. It is 2019's Climax from Gaspar Noé. I have here Alex Almeida. She is our artist, and she is our wonderful, wonderful friend over here at the Nerdcore. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm doing great. Get to talk about one of my favorite directors.
Yep. And I'm really happy that you're here with me because I told you about this idea, and I said, you know what, I want to go ahead and do this, and you're like, cool. So then the next thing I would send you would be, which Gaspar film are we doing?
It's that easy.
I
Didn't even have to think twice.
It's because I know you. You know, we don't even have to think about it that much. It's just like, which one are we doing?
To go. Well, actually, we ended up flipping a coin because I couldn't make a decision.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to leave it at the coin, don't we? Well, yeah. So we're here. So Cinema Condition is really just about analyzing every ounce and corner of the film that we talk about. You know, every week. I don't want to say every week. I don't know the time frame at the moment, but we're gonna go ahead and have people over, and we're gonna have them discuss a movie that they want to do. I have 5 episodes already planned for this show, and I'm pretty sure you guys already listened to this because I'm going to have a introductory episode because I don't want to be stuck doing an introduction on the first episode. I'll just make an episode itself for you guys where I introduce you to the show. But this is its own separate feed, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy the talking that I'm going to go ahead and do with Alex here. But, you know, Alex has been on so many shows of ours. She's been on the main show. She's been on the Impaired Files. She was like the 3rd guest on the Impaired Files, and she was the one who started the After Hours with me on Patreon. She has been all over the place with us, and she does the art for us, and we love her so much. And she's the one who made the art for this show, of course. And by the way, Alex, you did an incredible job. I love it.
Thank you. I love that logo. Like, I kept that one like off to the side because I was like, we gotta use this some way or another.
Yeah. Sadly, I'm not doing that show anymore. So, you know, I'm not using that logo. So you're like, oh, let's see what I can do with that. And I really like. You gave me two art that I wanted to choose from. I'm like, it's so hard to choose, but I went with the white, and I think it came out really well.
Yeah, the white is super crispy.
Yep. So let's go ahead and just finally talk about Climax here. This is a film that came out last year. Let's be honest here. It came out last year, but it was released in North America in 2019. So, you know, it still counts as a 2019 release for us Americans here. And it is in my top 10 of the year so far. And I don't know when this episode will be released, but if it releases in January, then yes, guys, then this was in my top 10 of the year in 2019. And Alex, did this fall in your top 10 list?
Yeah, I don't even really make lists because I'm very bad at making like decisions on what my favorite things are. But I would say if I did make one, it would be in my top 10 for sure.
Oh, right. Yeah. You're not like Brad and I who make our list and we check it twice. We check which movie was naughty or nice, right?
Yep, exactly. And you guys are always switching it up too.
Yeah, it's because so we have like last minute times when we like just switch it up and we're like, oh, okay, last adjustments and stuff. But yes, this came out this year, written and directed by Gaspar Noé, a filmmaker that really doesn't need an introduction, but I'm gonna give it to you guys because he is a provocateur. He is honestly, and I know you know this because I've told you 1,000 times. He is my favorite modern director. He's my favorite modern director, 100%.
He's a legend to me, and one of those as a filmmaker, and I think as like an original script, like I don't think I've really seen many movies that have that originality as his does.
Yeah. So Gaspar would start his career in the 80s with Tinartea di Luna, a short film, and he would make another one called Pulp Amere in 87, but he would not really come to fruition until 1991's Carne, Flesh, which is a short film that ends up becoming his first feature film, I Stand Alone, or Seul contre toi, in 95. And that one's based on his, not 95, I'm sorry, 98. And that one is based on The Butcher. And that's a movie, I believe, I still have not watched that one. That's the only one I still need to watch. I have it pulled up on my YouTube, and I'm going to watch it one of these days. But it's famous for being screened at Cannes, and Gaspar gave the audience basically a 15-second, warning to get out of the audience of the theater, because he was about to show some really graphic violence. And guess what? People walked out. And ever since then, a lot of his movies have been famous for people walking out of Cannes from him.
Yep. Very advisory before it starts type of guy.
Yeah, I'm not really one who agrees with having, advisory. Unless it's graphic stuff that you need to put a trigger warning or something. But to take out 15 seconds out of your film to really warn people, that's not my thing. Like, I think well, definitely now where we're at with his career, I think we know what you're getting into when you watch a film from Gaspar. So I think you know it exactly. Like, yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and ignore this one or just not watch it. But he would end up making, the next film would be, his next feature film would be Irreversible in 2002, which is one that we are going to look. I'm pretty sure Alex and I are going to do mostly all of his filmography here. And because, unlike the Impaired Files, this show isn't one and done. Once you come in, you don't come back. That's not true. Once you come in here, you're welcome to come back anytime you want, and we can just sit down and digest another movie. So I want to do I want to do this whole filmography with her. And Irreversible was starring Vincent Cassel and Monica Bellucci, and it's very, very well-crafted narratively, where it plays the narrative in reverse. And once again, it has a very strong graphic scene depicting rape that, once again, people would walk out of Cannes for. And he would continue on his career to make, Enter the Void in 2009, which is a passion project from him. And then in 2015, he would make Love. And then the one that we're going to talk about today, in 2018, he would make Climax. He is the son of Luis Felipe Noé, and he, Luis Felipe Noé is an intellectual and writer from Argentina. He is Argentinian born, but was, immigrated to France to escape the Argentinian government and the fascist regime over there. So, in that French style really does, reflect upon Gaspar's work.
Yeah, he's, art house style and everything. I think he doesn't hold back. He's not somebody that, I think that's why I love him as a director. He doesn't hold back on anything.
What was the first movie you watched from Gaspar?
First movie I watched, I think, was Enter the Void, when they had it on Netflix. I know it's not on there anymore, but they did have it on, and I just kind of what's it called? The image, the shot that they have on Netflix, the little scroll thing, just caught my eye, and I was like, what is this? And then I clicked on the bio, and I was like, well, this is kind of interesting. So I just ended up watching it, and I was like, okay, I need to see what else this guy's done. Yeah.
So I had learned of the name Gaspar Noé because I believe it was in 2017 or 2018 last year. I believe it was famous because he walked out of Black Panther at Cannes, and people were mad. But his explanation was the music was boring, the picture was boring. I was just really bored with it, so I just got out. And that was a shitstorm online. Before. So I said I would go and I'd research a little bit of who he is, and I would research the films he made. And one of them really caught my eye. One of them was Love, and the other one was Irreversible. And and Alex and I we would later become friends. and she brings up like, we bring up the name, and she's like, have you watched Love yet? I'm like, no, I don't think so. And I started, and I was like, you know what? It's on Netflix. I'm gonna start it. And I watched Love, and I remember the tweet I sent out. I was like, now watching Love 2015, right? And then after I would say, oh, so this is how we're gonna start this movie. And you're like, you've never seen it before? And I'm like, no, I've never seen this movie before. And you're like, you're in for a ride. And that was the first one that I was introduced into Gaspar. And then I would buy 2002's Irreversible on Amazon Prime. And since then, I've watched mostly all of his movies. And I want to make my way through his shorts, but it's going to be really hard to find those shorts. But, Gaspar's Love was the first one I watched. And that's one that I know I want to watch. I want to talk about with you. Because that one is honestly in my top 10 of the decade. I think that's one of the best films he's made. I think it's one of the most intimate and most personal ones he's made. But the fact that, and it's interesting, the fact that he wanted Monica Bellucci and Vincent Cassel to do that movie at first. I was like, oh man, that would have been a wild one, because both of them had their history already.
It's definitely probably one of my favorite films from him.
Mm-hmm. So 2018's Climax, I actually, what's it called? So it was playing at my theater back in Houston, and I really wanted to watch it in theaters. I still regret not being able to watch this in theaters, because it's one that I wish I would have appreciated in the theatrical experience. But I actually bought it on Vudu when it was available the first day. I said, you know what? The trailer, I've been playing it simultaneously, while watching I've been playing it like consecutively, and I really want to watch this movie. And I told Alex, well, you know what? I'm gonna buy it. I'll pass you my login for Vudu, and you can watch it after I'm done. And she's like, oh shit, really? Thank you, awesome. And Climax was incredible. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And then the more I researched into the movie, I really found out, like, wow, this is Gaspar is really something else. The way he really makes movies, it's really pours out of the screen, and especially with Climax. Alex, sorry.
Oh, hang on one second, Raul. I'm so sorry.
So yeah, I passed you my login, and you watched this movie.
Yep, and thank you for that, because, I mean, the opening scene, holy shit! I was like, what am I about to watch? Like, what's gonna happen? What's going on? Because based off the trailer, when I watched the trailer, I was like, I don't know what kind of film this is, and I don't know what he's going for, but I'm into it.
Yeah. So Climax stars Sofia Boutella, and she, along with Maya Yacoub, are the only actresses with prior experience in this film. Everybody else are just dancers and non-professional actors. And I think that's incredible. And once again, Benoit Debie returns to make another movie with Gaspar. He's been doing pretty much all the work for Gaspar since, Carne. And Benoit Debie has become like basically one of my favorite cinematographers ever since I started watching Gaspar's work. He's incredible with his use of colors and stuff. And, the history about this movie is so interesting. So this is based on an actual event that happened in France. So a group of dancers are about to go to tour in the United States, and they decide to party. Somebody laces their drinks with LSD, and they have a terrible trip that ends up pretty much killing some of them. And Gaspar, when he writes this movie, he just writes a one-page outline. He brings it to set, and he tells the people, this is what we're doing. He goes, you're allowed to kiss who you want. You're allowed to fuck who you want. You're allowed to hit who you want. You're allowed to be friends with who you want. You're allowed to be enemies with who you want. He goes, we're making the movie as we record it. And I think he's not a stranger to this. He did it with Love as well. He basically, tells I can't remember their names, but Carl Glusman, and I can't remember the girl's name. But basically, we're gonna make the sex scenes as we film this movie. So I think that when Gaspar approaches it like that, really creating the art as we are making it, it's really interesting.
Shows. I think it definitely shows too, because it's like whatever on-set chemistry is being made with the talents, it's actually being like played out in front of our eyes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And, you know, I was really happy that he casted Sofia Boutella because, of course, Sofia Boutella is a great dancer, and it reflects in this movie 100%.
I didn't know she was that good of a dancer until I saw this movie.
Yeah.
I knew she had a dance background, but I've never like seen it until this movie.
You and I are big fans of Sophia, where we really like her. I mean, she was my choice to, you know, play Catwoman in Barry's the Batman.
I would have loved to see that.
Yeah, I know. I would have loved her to be Catwoman, and then, you know, or Lea Seydoux. We're just really, really big fans of these French actresses and the Italian actresses, especially because I think they're really underplayed. Like, Lea Seydoux should be bigger than she is, but, you know, she has that role in No Time to Die coming up, but, you know, other than that, like, she should be bigger than she is. Like, you know, she's incredible. Mm-hmm.
Yep, completely agree. Both of them they need more roles, especially in like in America.
Yeah.
In an American cinema world, you know.
Yeah. And Gaspar is I wouldn't say he's completely made a huge impact in the American cinema, but I mean, he really has made his mark in France, and especially with Climax, he really does create an intricate dynamic with all of his cast. And, you know, I really love a lot of things about this movie. There's very little things I don't like about it. I mean, there's a reason why it's one of my favorites of the year in 2019. I really enjoy, you know, how he approaches the cinematography in here, how he really approaches the dynamic between all of these actors and actresses. Sorry, I'm over here. Do not want to burp into the microphone. I'm bringing my my catchphrases from the nerdcore over to the cinema condition. Don't want to burp into the mic, but yeah. What did you think about Climax when you first watched it?
When I first watched it, I was like, okay, this shit's intense. Also, I don't think I've ever seen a movie where I think the intensity of like a drug trip, I've never seen that be played out fully. Basically, the entire like story of it is these people are tripping out on LSD, and they don't know that they got spiked until it starts to happen, and they're like, oh shit, like we're out of control and there's nothing we can do from this point on. Yeah. And I don't think I've ever seen that played out on screen before. Mm-hmm. And so I was like very see, and I was also like, hell yes, Gaspar, thank you so much for doing this type of film, because this is something that I think is different to the genre, which the category they were putting it in, I think, was horror, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dance horror.
Dance horror, yeah. And so I was like, absolutely, like this is terrifying. Like I would be terrified of that situation if I was in it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I also would like to say I think that Gaspar is not, you know, preoccupied with the mystery of the trip. You know, like who did it. He doesn't really care about that. He's more of showing you like what is going on and the madness behind this trip. And it's interesting because he does it in Enter the Void with what he does. That's a really drug-filled movie. But in this one, it's not more showing you the consequence. It's showing you more like what's happening inside of the realm of possibilities when you're tripping, because everybody's tripping differently.
It's the experience. Mm-hmm. He's bringing you into the experience of it.
Yeah. So the opening, you talk about that opening shot. That opening shot's incredible. You know, it's just basically in the snow, and there's something interesting with Gaspar that I really love, and is the way that he incorporates music. I believe he's using a Pink Floyd song in the beginning, and just the way that plays out as the character is just kind of, you know, laying there and just basically blooded out, and just the way that music plays and how we transition into what we're gonna have with that opening dance scene. And that opening dance scene is incredible. I love that scene so much.
Such a good scene.
Yeah.
And before that too, so it has the opening shot.
Mm-hmm.
of the girl, which is, I'm assuming it's a shot that you would.
3, 2, 1. Sorry.
Yeah, the opening scene is actually something you would expect at the end of the film.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of, in that regards, going backwards, I guess. And then it leads into the audition tapes.
Yeah. It's so there's a thing that Gaspar does throughout this movie that I really enjoy, and he does it a lot in Love. He'll put little fragments of black screen in there. Kind of if like it's like if we're blinking, right? And it's making it seem like we're there. We're watching this happen. And it's interesting that he does it in this movie as well. But yeah, the audition tapes are really interesting. Basically just people, introducing that they love dance, that it's their passion and it's something that they want to do for so long, and they're willing to do anything for it. And we get to know these dancers, and then from there we cut into the opening dance scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that opening dance scene was shot so incredibly.
Yes. The music that he's using too. I'm not a big fan of electronic music or dubstep and techno and all that, but the way that Gaspar uses the music in here, oh, I love it. There's some music in here that's it's incredible, and it really heightens up the intensity and the atmosphere of what he's creating inside the movie.
Yeah, it's like it's the heartbeat of the movie, kind of. It keeps it going.
Yeah, he really does choose some really interesting ones. I know he has Daft Punk in there. He has Aphex Twin. But I'm trying to remember which one's the name of that first one. I believe it's called Supernature. Yeah, Supernature from Cerrone. It's a really good song, and it's just that
it gets stuck in your head.
Yeah, after I watched it the first time, I shit you not, I could not take it out of my head. I just kept going in my head.
When I rewatched it the other day, I was like, oh my gosh, this song.
Yeah. And of course, he has a bunch of other songs, like, Patrick Hernandez is Born to Be Alive. He has, like, old songs. Of course, that Pink Floyd song I was telling you in the beginning, and the Rolling Stones as well. It's interesting. He also, like, Tainted Love played for a little bit in there, too.
Yeah,
and,
I heard that.
Yeah. So that opening dance scene is incredible. But there's another one that plays right before the madness starts, that he films from, like, with the camera on top. And it's kind of showing from like a bird's view of the dance floor. That one's incredible. That's after, the drinks are in, the LSD's almost going to sit in. But before that, Gaspar shows something that's really interesting. Something that I think a lot of people ignore in this movie. He shows that people are gossiping, people are talking shit. They're talking, some of the dudes are talking about which girls they want to fuck. And it really shows that, like, that idea, like, even though you have yourself a team, really, these people aren't really a team. They'll go behind your back and still talk shit about you.
Right. The only thing that they have in common is the fact that they love to dance. Mm-hmm. But that could be the only thing that they have in common.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean that they get along.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they just have one common thing that they want to do, that's dance, and other than that, like, they'll just turn on you in a second. As long as they can still dance, you're irrelevant to them.
Yep.
And that shows a lot in the trip.
Oh, yeah. Everything starts to go, I guess, where you would expect it to lead if this was like a drawn out movie. But you would expect at the very end of a movie.
Yes, exactly. So, one character that always stands out to me is it's not really her boyfriend. It's just this guy who's just all over Sofia Boutella's character, and
David.
David. He's just really he's really needy. He wants to be wanted. He wants to be but he can't seem to decide for himself whether he wants to be with Selva. He wants to be with the other people, and he also wants to be with that one guy who's the cross dresser. He seems to be all over the place, and it's interesting because there's a lot with Gaspar. His movies always seem to be interesting because he depicts men in the way that some filmmakers are really scared to depict men, as these very flawed creatures who can't seem to make up their own shit half the time.
Yeah, it's he gives them, I think, a more sort of human and realistic qualities.
Yeah.
and not so much as like this hero that walks in and saves the day type of thing.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I mean, like, you go back to Reversible. I'm going to go back to Reversible. Nobody really saves the day in that movie. You know, it's just showing you, like, these guys are fucked up. And, you know, this happened to a poor woman, and nobody saves the day. In Love, nobody saves the day. Enter the Void, nobody saves the day. It's incredible because he's giving you the realistic way of looking at it. It's like, I'm really going to give you a piece of real life and show it to you on screen. He does it with here in Climax so much by just showing you how these people act with each other, but just really how deep down, like, some of them, they're really here just to hook up most of the time.
Yeah.
They just happen to be good at dance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're just all attractive people who are very good and talented at dancing. And so you put that all in the mix along with the fact that they know they don't really owe each other anything. Mm-hmm. I think they all know that. Like, they're all like, we're just here to dance. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not here to be your best friend.
Yeah. There's another character that I really like, I'm very interested in because the way that he allows her to play herself. It's the mom. I can't remember her name for the life of me. I've watched this movie over and over again, and I can't remember her name.
No.
But
same.
What's her name?
Oh, I said I know. Same. I can't. It's hard for me to remember the specific characters' names.
Yeah, I just know how they look, and I have her. Also, her kid. I shit you not.
Oh my God.
He looks exactly how I look at my age when I was a kid.
Oh my God, he was adorable.
Yeah. So, like, there is no kid. There's no kid there. There is no doubt in my mind. I'm part French. That kid looked exactly like Lil Raul at his age.
And he had his little glasses and everything.
Yeah, and I had the glasses too. It's great. Yeah, that the mom is a really interesting character because as you find out that she did not want to have the abortion and she had the kid, she loves it. I honestly believe she loves that kid.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Now, does she want him around?
I mean, not as much as people would like her to have him.
Yeah, exactly. Because the dancers love him. They love that kid. They feel bad for the kid because they say this isn't the type of environment to be raising a child in, and she should know. And they go, she had the chance to abort it, but she didn't want to abort it. But they're all kind of just saying, like, they all come to the consensus that kid deserves better. But she doesn't know. She doesn't know any better because, I mean, she's a single mom, and she obviously loves the child, but she doesn't really know the lick about raising the kid.
Yeah, she doesn't know how to balance it with her career, her dance career.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they've always done they've done several interviews before with Gaspar, and they've always brought up, because he's married to another filmmaker as well, and they don't have kids. And they're pretty old already. They're getting there. And they bring up if, like, why you don't have kids? And he goes, we just don't want kids. And it's like, I'm not, he even says that, I'm not pro-abortion, but I'm also not anti-abortion, but I'm not anti-life or anti-death. I'm not pro-life or pro-death. It's interesting the stance he takes. And then he puts that sign in he does this a lot of times where he'll just put, like, black screens with, like, text on it. And he puts quotes. One that really stands out to me that says, every birth is an opportunity. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that one. That one was good. And, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, his stance on it is interesting because he's not really choosing a direct side.
Mm-hmm.
He, I guess he could have, he kind of shows himself in that sense where the people are him on as, oh, you should have aborted. But then the mom is like, no, I didn't. And now I have him, and I'm going to try to do the best I can with what it is. Yeah. And then he puts that quote thing in there too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's like, I don't think he doesn't take a stance. He doesn't take a stance on a lot of things. I think it's good because, at this day and age, you say one thing and then everybody twists it into other thing. And so I think that Gaspar, when he says that every birth is an opportunity, I think it's an opportunity because to some people aren't meant to be parents, But some people need the kick in the nuts sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They need it. So like if a kid is gonna fix your shit, then I mean have the kid. You know, some people need it. And I think that's what he's saying. Like, even though she didn't abort it, she's keeping it. It's an opportunity for her to understand herself too, but also kind of put it into perspective that she has a kid that she has to care for and love, which she obviously does, but she doesn't understand how to raise it.
She doesn't. She has. I don't know how to explain it. I guess loving the kid would be just to say I love you and see him every once in a while. But we all know that being a parent takes a lot more than just doing those things. You have to actually be there for the kid.
Yeah. And I see it reflected because she loves, because if she didn't love that kid, she wouldn't have tried to shelter him from what was happening when everybody was tripping. But she lost the key. She didn't know where she left it. I think that was a simple mistake. I think that was Gaspar saying once again, that she has no idea how to raise this kid, but she's trying to go off her motherly instincts of loving it. And she wants to make sure that this kid is safe. But sadly, he puts him in. He drank from the sangria, and by the way, he uses sangria because it was one of the drinks that he was always drinking at his young age, and it was what his friends would drink. So there was no other use for it other than that. There was what he loved to drink. So the kid gets locked in the generator room, which sadly ends leads to his death. But she doesn't know. In that moment she doesn't know where she's putting him. He just knows that she wants to protect him.
Right. Yeah, and that's what went through my mind at first when I saw her grab him and put him in that generator room. I was like, why didn't she just put him back in bed where he originally was? Yeah.
But once again, I think these are the nitpicks when I talk about this movie, because I don't want this to be a review, and I don't think we're having a review. I think we are actually analyzing this movie. What's it called? Gaspar never shows if there's a lock on that door or not, because easily she could have locked the door and just kept him in bed. But once again, I understand. Maybe that door wasn't locked, and she just brought him down and here we go to the generator room. But either way,
also,
she would have lost the key to the door either way.
True.
You were saying something?
Oh yeah, that she was just starting to trip out too, so she just went to the nearest door that she saw, opened it, and kind of just put him in there, and then closed it and locked it.
And I think that him being in there is the most scariest part of this whole movie.
Yeah.
Just following Selva as she comes from the other door, the other rooms to through there, and you just hear him crying and screaming and yelling, "Mom!" So my friend watched this movie. He said he was so annoyed at that kid. To me, it's a completely different experience. I was so afraid for that kid. I would get. I'm getting chills just talking about it. And my hairs are standing up. Just hearing that kid scream, because nobody can do anything to save him. Selva wants to save him, but he can't. And she kind of takes it out on the mom. And it's like, why would you do that? Why would you put him in there? And he's just there facing this trip alone that would eventually just kill him. And it's wild. That part is the part in the movie where the horror is bumped up to 10.
Yeah, because the whole time you're going in and out of Selva is basically going in and out of the dance room and into I guess they have a living quarters, I'm assuming. That's what they call it or whatever, where the dancers stay in, and it's bedrooms and stuff. So she's coming in and out of those areas, and you hear the screams of the adults that are tripping out. But then when she gets closer to the generator room, you hear the screams from the kid, and those screams from the kid made me more scared than hearing the adult scream.
Yeah. And there's other really interesting characters. I mean, like I said, the cross-dresser is a very interesting one. Daddy is one of the characters that Gaspar really, lets him be heartwarming. And I think that was his approach, the actor's approach. I love Daddy. I think that he's a calming presence, and he's kind of give no fucks guy, but he's there to be with you, to help you through what you're going through, and he's the one who really comforts the cross-dresser when he's tripping out, because that guy, I can't remember his name once again. I know exactly how they look. I'm terrible at memorizing names. That one, he's like, people are kind of like, how do you know you're gay if you haven't even been with someone, you know? And they're telling him all these things, and he just wants to be loved, but he wants to also be reassured that he is who he is, because part of him seems to be denying his own identity. Like, if he doesn't even know who he is until he finally has that experience with somebody.
Yeah, and Daddy, the character, Salva comes to him several times throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Be like, help me, kind of, in a way. But, I mean, he's tripping as well, so he can't really do much.
It isn't until, like, he comes down a bit when he's able to be in that room and just, like, lay down and comfort the other guy. And I think that's just, it's interesting because, you know, everybody goes first to Daddy. But I believe that, or how Sylvia says it, Daddy. Yeah. Everybody goes to Daddy first, and because he's the calming presence. He's really the daddy of them all. He's the one who's playing the music, and he's also the one who's taking care of everybody else. There's other interesting ones, like, you know, the incestuous, what's it called, the siblings. Also the guy who doesn't do any drugs or alcohol and is the first one to get kicked out of the room and dies in.
That was so fucked up.
That was so fucked up, man. Like, this guy is getting kicked out just for not doing any of this. Like, why would he? First of all, I don't think Homeboy even has any idea where to buy drugs. So why would he be the one who buys the LSD? So come on, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I believe it's ecstasy or LSD, the one that's it's in the sangria, but he dies of hypothermia. LSD. Okay. He dies in the outside of hypothermia, which sucks.
And he's all frozen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, God damn it, Gaspar. He's like, no retaliation with it at all. He's just like, yeah, this guy froze to death. Like, there's nothing to it. There's nobody who really makes it out alive except for Selva and the girl and the other one who we believe was the one who brought the LSD into the building. But she's the one
Did you think that, what were you going in your mind trying to guess who was it who spiked the sangria?
After my second rewatch, yes. My first watch, I was definitely not occupied with that. I was just watching what Gaspar was creating and experiencing the trip. The second watch, I'm once again just experiencing the trip, but I'm also looking out for character traits.
Same. Or if he was trying to drop any hints or anything like that.
Yes, exactly. And the third time, now when we watched it in preparation for this one, I was looking at, like, okay, who is giving me the vibe that she's the one who laced it? And I honestly do think it's that girl, because she already gets her eye drops, puts it on her. But even though she said she doesn't do drugs or drink, she still drank from the sangria. She was still tripping.
Yeah.
So part of me was
She was the first, like, kind of the transition scene where they start to trip out is where she's, like, peeing on the dance floor.
Yes. Unless she probably did it, or she was faking it. Which, if she was, holy shit, you're really good at faking it.
Well, when she did the eye drops at the end, I was like, this bitch. She was probably not even feeling that high because she does it so much. So that was probably nothing to her in comparison to what everybody else was going through.
Gaspar really incorporates some interesting shots in here. So after that last dancing, that whole part where everybody's tripping, which he calls hell, it's one take. It's like a 40-minute one take. It's all done in one take. So, like, holy crap, the poor camera operator who was doing that. No wonder Gaspar was helping them with the cinematography, because during that time, I bet somebody's arm was getting definitely tired.
Arm fell asleep.
Yeah.
And they could not feel it.
Yeah. And it's just the use of the Dutch angles, also the 360 shot. I think the 360 shot is overused so much, especially in the Marvel movies. They've done it in Thor Ragnarok. They've done it in Black Panther. They've done it in all these movies. I think it's really overdone. But in this movie, it's very warranted because you're told to feel it's a trip. So everything's kind of going all over the place. So when he pulls out that shot, just like the 360, and it's like, oh my God, like it made me
Room
nauseous.
spinning.
Mm-hmm. And the use of the colors as well. When Selva goes to that couch and she's just really tripping out really badly, and the orange just bouncing off her face. It's crazy. And then the purple in the room when she's talking to that girl who's pregnant, who, you know, the people turn on and basically make her cut herself, and like her.
That was crazy.
That was brutal. That was kind
of hard to watch.
Yeah, that was. Because she also doesn't just cut herself, she punches her stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the girl that kicked her in the stomach originally.
Yeah.
I was so mad. I was like, what the hell? Why would you do that?
Yeah. And just the guttural cries from her, like she is like that she was I believe that was Mia Yakub. I don't know if that was Mia Yakub or not, but she was really good at what she was doing there. Like her screens are very, very, very what's it called? Really well done. And I think once again that whole peer pressure into cutting herself and punching herself, that once again shows that the people don't care. They really don't. Like at the end of the day, they're there to dance, and they really don't care about these people. If they lose one, then it's fine. They can just replace them with another.
Right. And it also shows the mob mentality that you know, society has, where if we all look at one person and we start blaming them, then like everybody's going to jump on them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I think that shows multiple times throughout the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, it shows when they're trying to find out who spiked it and they kick them out. It shows like multiple times, just the whole idea of mob mentality, and really these people who are like they have a facade that they're good people, but underneath it all, they're just terrible people who, honestly, if they want to get their way, they'll find a way to get it. And it really does. And I think that also incorporates into the person who spiked the LSD with the sangria. And he probably just, you know, like, I have one thing. I want to be the best dancer. These are some of the best dancers in France. And if I can get rid of them, then I'm closer to achieving that goal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm out.
Yeah. So there's another part that I really want to analyze as well. It's so where the lights go out because the generator gets busted and the kid dies. It all goes to red, and really all that. So there's people fucking, there's people dancing, there's people, you know, they're doing everything on that floor, and the camera's just moving so weirdly, and everybody's just kind of like it's hell. It's 100% it's hell, and that's what Gaspar wanted. He wanted to separate the movie into two parts. He wanted to put the dancing, and then we just transition into hell, the trip. And I think he does that really well in that.
Yeah, it shows kind of shows what our fears are a little bit, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So like who was it? I don't even see it. I don't know the character, but she was one of the dancers, and she would like start freaking out and screaming out of nowhere, like if she saw something, but there's nothing there.
Yeah. And
so I think what he's doing is he's playing on like your like survival mode type things and stuff like that. So when they show that one guy fucking the other chick, that's just something he wanted to do from the start.
Yes.
And they finally got to that place.
Yeah. The incestuous couple is really interesting too. You know, really just how he really just like, he's a growing creepy dude. He's really overprotective of his sister. And when we get to hell, he forces himself on her. And it once again, I think that this is another just, what's it called? Gaspar really has, I wouldn't say interest, but he really likes to depict some of the people in his movies where they're either violent rapists who either don't, what's it called, who are really there to kind of disrupt the narrative at times, but also are there to kind of show you how there's true evil in every walking form that you see. Like at the turn of a street, there could be somebody who's just pure evil, and he shows it with the incestuous brother in this one.
As somebody that you grew up with, you're related, somebody that you probably love unconditionally, and they're trying everything they can to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
It's something that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
So it shows a line of like trust.
Exactly. And I think it's also really interesting that he allows them to live, because I think that once again, that guy is going to have to live every day. And I think he understands it too, with the guilt of what he's done to his sister. And his sister just keeps on trying to find a way to get away from this dude, which I was hoping that she was going to find a way to get away from him, but no. Just keeps
like
keeps bringing him in.
He tells her when they wake up and they're like not drugged anymore, he's like, don't tell dad.
Yeah. And she kind of brushes it off, because I think she's also coming down, so she doesn't know. Now, the last character I really want to talk about, who I think is one of the most interesting ones in here, who I think Gaspar really took most of the time kind of working with her. Selva is really interesting. I think that Selva, she doesn't understand herself really well. Because I think she constantly, curbs David. David, how it is said in the movie. I think she doesn't know yet her own sexuality, which once again is a big term, that a big idea that he constantly plays with in his movie, sexuality. And I think that that's why she ends up with that girl, because she really doesn't understand if she even likes guys, because she's constantly curbing David.
And he's not making it easy for himself by constantly just like being on top of her, basically.
Yeah.
And so she's more of like, "Ill, get away from me, I don't want you" type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so finally when she's on her own, she freaks out, she comes back, and then I don't remember if she initiated with the girl first or if the girl initiated with her.
No, the girl really grabs her and she brings her to the room, and she's trying to calm her down, and then they start kissing. And then David comes in, and she's like, "No, get out, seriously." And then the girl locks the door, and he breaks down, because that's the moment where David realizes that no one really likes me here. Like, no one really feels something for me here. And he's very, very, very similar to Murphy from Love. That he wants to be loved, but once again, he doesn't know how to show that love.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's too busy being the playboy.
Exactly.
But he doesn't realize that he wants something more, but he's already screwed up those opportunities, because I think the pregnant girl, she hooked up with him, right?
I believe so.
Because isn't it when they were like, "Who's the father?" When they were all like mobbing on her, like, "Who's the father?" And then she yells out, "David."
I think so. Which, by the way, I mean, once again, goes to show that David doesn't really care. David, once again, does not care. And it's interesting. I did not hear that part. After my 3-week watch, I did not hear that part.
Because she like screamed it where it was kind of like unaudible at first. And I was like, what did she say? And so I rewinded it back real quick, and I was like, oh shit, she said David.
Yeah.
But she could have been lying. Maybe she was just throwing a name out there, but I don't know.
Yeah. So Selva really, really does. She finds herself at the end, really like hooks up with that girl, which I'm also really glad that Gaspar doesn't show, because I think that that's a moment where Selva finally gets to understand herself, and I don't think we need to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. She finally, like, I don't want to say feels safe, but is in like a comfortable environment when everything's no longer chaotic, because they go off together.
Yeah.
And then so then he kind of cuts away from that after they're like making out and stuff.
Yeah. And that other girl, she really doesn't feel that the one that she's actually dating. You can tell, like, they're having problems, and she does not like her. And I think it is a safer environment, because especially when we see them morning of, they're very cuddled, they're very close to each other, and very like, what's it called? Intimately holding each other, kind of like I got you, you've got me. Don't worry, no one's coming in here. No one's gonna hurt us.
Yeah, they're spooning.
Yeah, yeah. Good old spooning.
Same with actually it's the same. They're in the same position as Daddy and Riley.
Exactly. You remembered his name. Thank you. I didn't want to keep calling him the crossdresser. But yeah, Riley and Daddy, who are spooning and like holding him like you're safe with me. And I once again I think that's Gaspar deciding to have some heartwarming capabilities to his movies, because he doesn't make a lot of movies that are really heartwarming. He did say though that he's promised his father to make a children's movie at one point in his life. I hope I'm alive to see that. But yeah, he said that he's wanted to, because 2001: A Space Odyssey is the movie that made him realize he wants to be a director, and rightly so. One of the best movies, and don't worry, that one's gonna be dissected on this podcast, especially because it's one of my favorite movies of all time as well, and I really do agree with him. That's one of the movies that made me realize I want to be a director as well. But he wants to make a sci-fi film, but he also wants to make a children's movie. But that makes me laugh, because how hard will it be for Gaspar to make a children's movie, man?
Yeah, he's gonna make these kids be like these little like barbaric little kids. Like, how are you gonna make these kids savages, Gaspar?
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting though, because I could just imagine like an animated film by Gaspar. Oh man,
that'd be insane.
Yeah. So there's a last final part I guess I want to do is just and I think we've been really talking about it most throughout this episode here, just really how the whole, I don't think Gaspar is really somebody who puts stuff beyond the surface of his movies. I think he composes the narrative and he shows it to you. There's no hidden meaning to it. There's stuff that you'll pick up after rewatches, but there's nothing like, oh, this was symbolic for this or this was symbolic for that. It's really like, I made the movie, here it is for you, and this was what was going on.
Yeah, he puts it all on the table. Like, what you see is what it is, type of thing.
Yeah. Which by the way, I'm not against that. I think it's refreshing, because a lot of the movies I like to watch, it's really where we have to make our interpretation and really think about what the movie's trying to say. But it's interesting when it comes with Gaspar, that he just puts it all out there on the table for you. It's refreshing, and it's one of the only instances where I really enjoy when a filmmaker does that, because Gaspar does it really in a really well crafted, intricate version of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to go back to the last scenes that we were talking about with Salva and that girl, and then Daddy and Riley, I think when what you said, when that was Gaspar's way of kind of showing like, okay, there's some like loving ways to this. I think it's the overall theme of the movie. Like,
yeah, because we don't know if Salva and the girl will get together after, which probably they will. And Daddy and Riley will probably get closer, and you'll probably come to him more as like a father figure, as as he is, because he's called Daddy. Call him Daddy. There's some actual good that'll probably come out of this hell that they just went through.
Yeah, it's basically the way of humanity. Basically, we kind of go through some bullshit, and then we come out on the other side of it.
Yeah, and we end, of course, with the it's interesting. Gaspar loves to do this thing where at the beginning he'll put the credits, and then at the end he'll still put the credits. So like, damn it. So we go out to the snow, and we see the body of the girl who's pregnant on the floor, bloodied out, and we get our credits and we roll them, and we're done with the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's over.
I gotta say, dude, Gaspar loves that. Like, he'll be like, I think I'm gonna put the credits here, but I'm gonna put them again.
Kind of like it, because that's him like being like, yeah, this is my team. We did this. But he puts it in like multiple times, like the beginning and the end.
Yeah, which by the way, I love, because I will never get over that Cinema de la Zone logo, where it's just the Z in France, where it's like the outline of the country of France, and it has the Z or the cinema on it. I think I can't get over it. I think it's just him. He always makes interesting credits, by the way. A lot of credits are really very boring, especially for big budget films. It's just a black screen with a bunch of words on it. He really does put different colors into it. I love the credits in Love. They're all like red and like orangey, and they're beautiful to look at. So I can't believe we're here dissecting credits, but yeah, he does. I love it. Excuse me. A couple last questions. So this was distributed by A24 in North America. So where does this land in your favorite A24 movies, Alex?
Oh shoot. 24 kills it.
Yeah, I know.
That's so hard.
Yeah.
Because they also did like Moonlight, which is probably one of my favorite films.
Yeah, that's my favorite movie of the honestly, possibly my favorite movie of the decade.
Yeah. Because I know people say like favorite movie of all time, and they'll pick like a movie that they're introduced them to something, but I was like, that movie just hit me so differently. But yeah. Okay, Moonlight's my top. Hereditary recently. They're A24, right?
A24, yeah, A24.
Shit. I'm gonna put this one in front of Hereditary. So I'm gonna go Moonlight, Climax, Hereditary.
Yeah. So I watch a lot of A24. I finally made a list on Letterboxd. By the way, Alex, you should definitely join Letterboxd. It would make some of these sudden questions I make really easy for you to go back to. So I have Moonlight number 1, of course. I have the Farewell at number 2. I have number 3, The Lighthouse. I have Climax at 4, and then I have Ex Machina at 5, with Hereditary right in back of it.
I forgot about Ex Machina.
Yeah.
I haven't seen The Farewell or Lighthouse yet.
Yeah, both of those incredible movies. But yeah, it's up there. It's in my top 5. When it comes to Gaspar, it is, I believe, my 3rd favorite from him. It's definitely one of my... I don't think Gaspar knows the definition of a bad movie. All of the movies he makes are really good, and I love them. And this, yeah, it's my 3rd favorite. Love is my favorite movie from him. Irreversible after that, and then Climax, and then Enter the Void. And I love it. I love all of them. I think they're all special in their own way, and they're really incredible films that, you know, are very, very well made and very, you know, very detailed. And I think it reflects on who the person is who's in back of the camera. And Gaspar is a really interesting filmmaker when you really get to know that side of him.
Yeah. I love his style. Like, he doesn't hold back, and I love that.
Yeah.
He doesn't try to make it, I don't know, make it so easily digestible, I guess.
Yeah. And I know for sure, because I've seen like interviews, he's not interested in making big budget movies. So I think where he works right now is perfect for him. And I think that has more of a lasting impact than if you were to direct a Star Wars or a Marvel or a DC and stuff like that. I think he's great for what he does right now, and I really wouldn't want him to do anything else.
And I think is Climax the first film that picked up A24 picked up from him?
Yes.
Or was Love?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's
yeah.
A24 picked up Climax, and I'm crossing my fingers that they picked up Lux Aeterna, because he screened that one at Climax at Con, and I heard incredible things about it. And once again, another incredible light show in that movie. And I want them to pick it up, but I feel like Gaspar just made a movie for Con, and that was it, because he loves that festival. He attends it every year, and I think he just made that movie to screen it at Con. That was it.
I need to get my eyes on it, though. I have to, because he used God, what's her name? The actress.
Oh, one of my favorites of all time, Charlotte Gainsbourg.
Yes.
I believe it's
I was
Gainsbourg
so excited.
and Seydoux, I believe. I will get you that right now, but yeah, Charlotte Gainsbourg is one of my favorite actresses of all time. She picks some roles that not a lot of actors would do.
I'd be curious to see what her contracts look like, because she's probably just signing it all away.
I wonder, man. But yeah, it is Charlotte Gainsbourg and Beatrice Dalle. Yeah, and the movie is, it's It is a metafictional drama centered around Gainsbourg and Dale playing themselves, making a film about witches.
Oh my god, it's perfect.
I want to see this. Somebody pick it up, please, because I don't think we'll ever get the chance to watch it unless he decides to release it himself. But like, holy crap! Like, you know how incredible it would be to watch this thing, and it was only. This is why I need to go to Con. And
no.
It's this thing that sucks about Con is that you had to be invited to go. He also showed at Venice Film Festival. He showed Irreversible, but in the other way, you know, not in reverse, in the other form of it, which I would like to watch it too, like that, to see how it works out and how the narrative plays out in that sense. But yeah, A24, please pick up Lux Eterna. Give him a really good deal for that, because I really want to see
give him his bag and get that damn movie.
Yeah, I want to see. I have people I follow on Letterboxd who watched it at Con, and dude, they said that was incredible. It was crazy. It's like, it is really Gaspar to his core. And he said that one of them who I saw that watched it said that they watched it with Gaspar in the room, and
shit.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's he's like, oh, Gaspar was in the theater. I was watching it with him. I'm like, oh my god. And of course, people walked out. But I feel like people walking out at Con is just a thing that always happens.
It's so weird, though. I mean, you kind of know at this point what films are being shown at Con. So, like, why are you surprised by something?
Yeah.
At this point, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I 100% agree with you. I think it's crazy, and yeah. So, I believe if there's nothing else to talk about, I believe we've made it to our first episode here.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Thank you so much, Alex. I honestly love you, dude. I'm glad you're the first one to come on the show, and I'm glad that I was able to do this with you. And now we have to do another one of Gaspar.
Yep, we have to. His whole filmography.
Yep. I guess we'll see which one we do next, but yeah, you had to flip a coin on that. You had to flip a coin and we got Climax. And I'm glad we talked about Climax. I really hope you guys watch it and you guys enjoy the movie, especially for those who listen because this is a long episode. It's an hour, and but yeah, these episodes should be between an hour and 2 hours, depending on the movie that we're dissecting. Because sometimes we'll go into heavy discussions on them, but this movie's not that long. It's an hour and 36 minutes, so of course it wasn't going to be that long of a discussion. But
it feels like it flies by too.
Oh yeah, 100%. It flies by a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I hope that you guys come back for the next one. This is going to be an interesting project. It's a passion project of mine that I want to do for a while, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the first one. And Alex, anything you're up to that you want to tell the people? I know right now you're having troubles making that YouTube banner.
Oh my gosh, that thing is the bane of my existence. I thought the Facebook banner was hard because the dimensions were like weird.
Mm-hmm.
But this thing, oh my gosh. I think I've sent it to you like 3 different times, right?
Yeah, 3 different times. The last one was just too small.
I even like Googled it. I was like Googling like different size measurements and all that stuff for it and trying every single one. I was like, oh my gosh, please work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So guys, Alex, go follow her, Zanzone. I'm sorry, Zanzone on Instagram, Zanz_zone on Twitter. She does amazing work, and she's constantly working with us. Somebody we have always on the show, and I'm just glad to be your friend, Alex. You're an incredible person who I love talking movies with.
Thank you, and I'm so glad that you asked me to come on and be a part of the team and let me do my little artwork thing with you guys. Yep. I love it. Thank you so much.
Oh, of course. You're one of our best team members here, and you do so much for us, and we appreciate it so much. And I'm glad that you're always here supporting my wacky ideas I have.
And don't forget to go get some Fuck Brad merchandise over Teespring.
All right. Yeah. Teespring.com/stores/the-nerd-core. Get a Fuck Brad shirt or a sticker, please. Nobody's bought it yet. Please get one. I'm trying to get one too once I get money.
Same.
Yeah. So go and support all the other shows on the Nerdcore Podcast Network. You know, we've got the Nerdcore, the Game Record, the Nerd Chicano Show, a lot of that stuff. Go and support that stuff, especially in the new year. We're gonna go deep into making a lot of cool stuff for you guys, and this is only the beginning of something I want to do in 2020. So you guys go and support us, and as always, you can find me on the Nerdy Chicano on Instagram and Twitter, and I also write reviews for the website, thenerdcore.com. And go check out the other team members and just have a good time and listen to our podcast. The next episode will not be different. I'm going to put in ads and stuff for our shows that we do, kind of promoting the channels as well and stuff. Kind of the ads I use for the live show. So it'll be longer, but you'll just skip the ads if you want to. But it will be for the people who just listen on this feed and they're like, oh, I didn't know that there's another podcast network. There's a whole podcast network devoted to this. So go and enjoy the other shows on the feed at anchor.fm/nerdcore, wherever you can find the Nerdcore on. And this has been the first installment of the Cinema Condition, where we talked Climax. And from Alex and I, go and watch a movie, cinephiles.